Welcome to week 4 of this project's course. Today we are going to see how to use Google Looker Studio and use my own social media data from the posts I have made on Instagram, LinkedIn and YouTube. Take the values of views, comments, likes and analyze the data using Looker Studio. We are going to see how to blend and combine two different data sets in Looker Studio, how to connect it to Google BigQuery, how to do some calculations, play around with the filters and do graphs and charts within Looker Studio. I've attached the datasets in the description section, so please use them and follow the instructions along. Hope you like the video. Let's get started. So here we have some social media data. This is my actual social media data. I post across multiple platforms: Instagram, YouTube and also LinkedIn. I post regularly on all three platforms, as you may all know. So I've just taken the month of the post, the year of the post and collected the actual data, right? Views, likes and comments for each of these posts, right? And what was the title? What was the idea of each of these posts? Then there's a column called category ID. What does this even mean? There is 1, 2, 3 and so on. So for this sake, I have a second table, okay? So it says category ID and the post category, right? For example, category ID 1 is tips, 2 is projects, 5 is like some interview, 4 is more a fun post and so on, right? 3 stands for information. Now what we're going to try to do, bring these two data into Looker Studio. This used to be called Google Data Studio before, and try to build some simple graphs, simple analysis and drive insights, okay? What we are going to do is the social media data, we're going to upload it to BigQuery. If you want to understand how exactly to do it, do check out my BigQuery video, which I posted a couple of weeks back, where I've shown end to end how to upload your data, okay? Step number 1, we need to download this as a CSV file, okay? The social media data, I've already downloaded it. So I'm going to go to BigQuery. Okay, I already have a project. I'm going to create a data set. Okay, I'm going to say create data set. Let's say social, right? I can give it a name and I can create the data set. Okay, that's it. Step number 1 is done. So I have a data set. Here now I can click and go and say create table. I will upload it from something that I already downloaded. So I can simply crawl down and say social media sheet 1, right? I have downloaded this data. I can call it social underscore media. Okay, this is simple step number 1. Schema auto detect and create table. Okay, it will take a few seconds to load. Let's wait for that. And once it's done, we have the table. Okay, so if I go to query and I say select everything, let me run the data and see. And now I get the data itself, right? As you see, month, the year, views, likes, comments, everything is there. Okay, so we have now connected this data set to BigQuery. The second data set will stay as a Google Sheet. Now we are going to try to combine both within Looker Studio. Let's see how to do it. So for that, you go to lookerstudio.google.com. This used to be called Data Studio, Google Data Studio before. So I'm going to type that, and this is how you land, right? You land in a home page, something like this. So I'm going to simply say blank report. Okay. When you click on blank report, basically you have multiple ways to connect, right? You might connect it to your Google Analytics data, you might connect it to your BigQuery, you might connect it to your local computer, right? Upload some file. You might also connect it to a Google Sheet, right? And there are so many other options to connect to other social media platform. So today we are going to start with trying to connect it to BigQuery, okay? Because I have that table in BigQuery, right? So I go here and I know this is my project. In this social is the data set I created, and I click on social media, okay? So I can connect to the table inside BigQuery like this. So I can simply say add, right? It will take some time to load. And then simply say add to report. Okay, step number 1, as you see, we have all the values, right? So if I pull, for example, the total views and see it across 3 platforms. So Instagram had 757 lakh, right? Like 757,100, right? Basically 757,100 or 7,57,100, right? Depending on the notation you use. So we have the data like this. Okay, this is a nice and easy step number 1. Now let us go and see some questions, right? So step number 1 is they are saying import data from BigQuery. We have already done that, right? Now we will try to connect the Google Sheet, right, with this. Before that, let's see this one, right? They say write a case statement to categorize fun and tips content as one category, other as a separate category, right? So if I go here I see fun is ID number 4 and tips is ID number 1, right? So whenever it's tips or fun, I want to put it as one category. How can we do this in Looker Studio? So first of all, before that, I'll come and give this a name, social media report. Okay, I can click social media report, give it a name like this. Then I can go to resource, manage added data sources, right? And click on edit, right? Now I can add a new field, okay? Calculated field. And then what else can I do? I can say, for example, category new, right? I can give it any name I want. So the idea here is, so I can use a case statement very similar to SQL. So case when category ID, right? That is the column, right? When this is 1 or 4, right? That's what we said. Then we can call it, let's say, fun tips, right? Otherwise, we can call it other, right? So we're splitting like this, and we can say end. Okay, in SQL we'll say end as. Here we can simply say end, right? As you see, the formula is correct. I can simply go and save, right? And I can click on done, right? So we have now created a new column called category new, which is appearing here, right? So if I want to see category new, for instance, as you see, most of it is in other category, right? So fun and tips, I have not created as much content, so the views is only half, right? This is just giving us a general idea, but you now learned how to create a case statement in Looker Studio. As you see, it was very similar to how we do it in SQL. Okay, so first step is done. Now let us come back to the previous question, which is like also connect to the Google Sheet data and see how can we merge them or combine them together. Okay, so to do this, first of all, I'm going to say go to resource, manage add a data source, and I'm going to add a new data source, right? And this time it's going to come from Google Sheets, right? And what is it? Basically this category ID post, right? That sheet. So I'm going to just select that, and that's it, right? You can simply go and add, right? This way now we are connecting it to a second data source as well, right? So we have now social media as well as this category ID post Google Sheet data. Okay, now we have an option to blend or merge or combine the data. So now let us try and do that. Okay, so I'm going to say blend data. Okay, now what do I want to blend? So I want to join social media table. From here I want everything, right? So I will select category ID, category news already there. I want to see the month, of course the platform, the year, and the title as well, right? I'm just going to pull all of them into dimensions. And in metrics, I want to see the views. What else? I want to see the likes. I want to see the comments. I guess that's pretty much it, right? From social media table, I'm pulling all the things for this blending or merging process. Join with another table from this one, category ID post. I want the category ID, obviously, and I also want the post category, right? That gives us the name. Now that I have pulled both, right? I pulled everything from here and both the columns from the other table. We can configure the join. We can say select inner join, right? As you see, category ID table is common in both, so it will join based on that, similar to the SQL principles. So I'm simply going to save, right? And it will be named as blended data one. Name doesn't matter. So I'm going to simply save. Okay. So as you see, blended data has come now. So now I have category ID and category new as well, right? Apart from that, the name of the post category, right? So if I pull post category here, as you see in other itself, we have information, we have projects, we also have interview. In fun tips, we have fun and tips, right? Now they're showing separately. So we have been able to blend or merge the data, similar to join in SQL, right? So we have done this. This is cool. We also have all the metrics here and the category ID, right? If I want to see the category ID as well, I can pull that in. So for instance, information is category ID 3, tips is category ID 1, and so on, right? Now we have all the information set up. We have also done the merging, right? Now let us go back to the questions. So case statement is done. So they are asking to observe trends in platforms and also categories, right? Now let us do step by step. So we will make sure we don't overpopulate too many graphs, too many tables in one sheet. So this is the first page, right? So over here, let me do something very simple. So I'm going to just remove this, right? I'm going to cut this out, right? And I'm going to click on blended data. And let us say I want to insert a simple scorecard. Scorecard will have simple values like this, right? So first of all, what do I want to see here? Let us say I want to see the total likes, right? I'll drag that in. Okay, so the total likes that I've received, right, across all these platforms is 25,338. So I can copy and paste, so I can get a duplicate like this as well. And now let me just put the total views. Okay, so total views is more than a million, right, as you see, across all the platforms put together. And then I can again just copy and paste, right? So I can replicate as well. And this time, let us say I want to put total comments. Okay, honestly we don't get many comments, so total comments is less than 500. So we have these three, right? Now this is like just simple top level metrics that we are seeing, right? Before that, if you want, you can also go and add a text box on top, right? I can place it wherever I want. Maybe I'll just bring these down a little bit. I think it just got stuck, so let me just drag this down a bit, also drag this down a little bit, and I can say insert text, right? I can place a text box here, right? I can say important overall information, right? I can give whatever name I want, right? You can play around with the formatting and stuff, right? So as you see, you can make it bold, right? By selecting the text, we can make it bold. If you want, you can underline it and so on, right? You can play around with all that. I'm just going to drag this, make it a little bigger, right? Let's make the size even bigger. Maybe I can select the whole thing and make it 20px. Okay, so it became a little bit bigger. If we want to give it a color for the background or filling also, we can do stuff like that. Okay, if I want some background, I can also do like this, right? So yeah, I'm going to just remove this other one. So this is like important overall information. So I have likes, I have views, and I also have comments. Okay, you can shade it with whatever color you want, but this is just giving simple important overall information. Okay, now let's say add new page. Okay, so I'm creating a new page. I've created a new page here. Let us say I want to add something important, right? So I can simply say table. Okay, I'm going to insert a table. Let's say I want to see by platform, right? So I want to bring platform to dimensions, the total views, the total likes and total comments. So I'm going to drag total views here, total likes as well, and total comments. Okay, the three main metrics for all the platforms. This is across the complete time period. Okay, so as you notice, Instagram is on top, right, in terms of views. YouTube views overall is not that much. Same trend with the likes, but if you see, YouTube is getting more comments than Instagram. So Instagram doesn't get as many comments, right? Although the views is high, likes is high. Can we show this visually? Is it possible? So yes, we can try to do it. Let's say we want to show different colors for views. I can go to style, right, and I can scroll down. So now we have three metrics, right? Views, likes, and comments. So for metric one, let us say I want to show something different. Can click heat map, right? When I say heat map, you see Instagram is the highest. It will show darker blue color, right? LinkedIn is slightly lighter blue. The YouTube with less views is very light blue, right? For instance, for the second metric, for likes, I can show like a bar, right? It shows Instagram has more likes. And if I click on show number, then it will also show the values, right? You can depict like a bar. Same way for comments, right? You can come to metric 3 and select whatever you want, right? I can say again heat map. It will show a different color, right? You can play around with the color, but this shows that LinkedIn received much more comments than the other two, right? So simple trend we can see. So it looks like Instagram performed well on the views and the likes, but in terms of comments, LinkedIn is the best, right? So this is what we get just at overall picture level. Now, if you want, you can also add a filter, right? So you can say insert a drop down list, and over here, for example, I can put month as a filter, right? I can bring that here. Now I can see per month, right? Let's say I want to see only for November. I can select November and see the trend, right? So even there you see Instagram is dominating in views. YouTube had a lot of comments, right? So I can select multiple months or just select one month, for example December, or I could select everything, right? So I could play around and see the overall trend, right? So I put month as a filter, right? So this is indicating me that yes, Instagram is doing well in views and likes, whereas LinkedIn is doing well in comments, right? This is a simple thing we can play around. This is in terms of the platform, right? So this information is basically about platform. Now let us say I go to page and click on current page settings. So we get something like this. So we can go to style, and you want to change the size and all, you can play around as well, right? I can go to view mode, right? So if I go to view mode, for example, what will I get? I can play around, right? Your stakeholder can go and select a particular month and they will see only that, right? For example, there is no August data here for LinkedIn, I guess, in this. So only Instagram and YouTube are showing, right? So I can select everything if I want. If I come back to edit mode, I get the access to edit the report, right? So this is by platform. Now let us move to something further. Let us say I add another new page, right? This time let us say I want to add some more calculations, right? So what I can do this time, let me again add a table, okay? So this time let's say I want to see by category, right? So I have post category, so I can select that, right? By category, how things are going, right? So I don't need the month, so I can just again pull likes, then comments and views, right? Same. So I can just reorder them so that first is views, then it's likes, and then it's comments, right? So now I see the values. As you see across these 5, I can apply the same logic, right? I can simply come to the style section, and for the first metrics, let's say I want to show heat map, and second metric also I want to show heat map, okay? I can select heat map, as simple as that. And then third metric, let's say I again select heat map, okay? It's going to show different colors, but now as you see here, in terms of post category, it looks like informative posts are doing really well overall, right? Tips is also doing reasonably well. The others, there's not a lot of views. Maybe there's not a lot of content. This could also be the case. Same way, information and tips are getting a lot of likes as well, and very good amount of comments, right? In fact, projects and interview did not get as many comments. Maybe it's because number of project videos are also lesser, right? This is also something you need to look into, but at least you can see what kind of posts are getting views, likes, interactions and stuff like that. On top of this, right, I can drag this down a little bit and I can say insert. Same way, right? I can insert a filter, and what filter can I put in here, right? I can put in, for instance, platform itself, right? And see in each platform, is there a different trend, right? So let us say I want to see only Instagram. In Instagram, what is happening? As you see, I have not really posted all types of content here, right? There's just information, tips, projects and fun. There's no interview post here, and you can see the trend, right? Again, information is doing pretty well, tips is doing well as well, right? Now if I go to LinkedIn, let's see how it's different. Here there's a little bit about projects, but again it's predominantly informations and tips, and they are doing pretty well as well, right? And finally going to YouTube, there's also projects, but again information and tips are predominantly dominating, right, in terms of comments, likes and views, right? So this way you can put a filter for a platform and see in each platform which post category is doing well in terms of overall numbers, right? Now let me go and add another page. So I'm going to simply say page and add a new page, okay? Now what I want to actually do, I want to this time insert a table again, right? But this time the purpose is going to be a little bit different, right? So what do I want to do here is, instead of just pulling likes, comments, views, just like that, I want to also do some calculation. For example, what is the ratio of likes to the views? What is the ratio of comments to the likes, right? Or what is the ratio of comments to the overall views, right? If we get some kind of trends here. So for this, what can we do? Let's say I want to see it by platform. I can drag platform to dimensions, right? That's step number 1. Now I can do some calculations, right? So yeah, I already have a metric here. If I want, I can add a new metric, okay? How do we do that? You can say add metric and say add field, okay? Now let us say the first one I want to do is the ratio of likes to the views. I can type it like that. I can come here and write a formula, right? I can say sum of likes, right? Total likes divided by the total views, right? You get a formula like this, and let's say I want it decimal with 2 percentage points. Can select like this and say apply. Okay. So this is how I get the likes to views ratio, right? I can make this a little bit smaller if I want and drag this a little bigger. So likes to views I am getting, right? This is one calculation I am doing already. I can also add another calculation if I want, right? I can simply go here and I can say add field. This time I want to do comments to likes, right? This is another interesting ratio. Let me again say percentage, but 2 decimal points. So this time it's going to be sum of comments, right, divided by the total number of likes, right? That's it. I'm going to apply this, right? So this is the second calculation I'm doing. This will be a very small number, as you see. Comments to likes, right? These are all below 1%, but still it's fine to show them, right? There's likes to views and there's also comments to likes, right? If we want, we can add a third trick as well. I'm going to go here and add this. So this is nothing but comments I'm getting to the overall views, right? This might be a very minuscule number, but anyway, let me just add it, right? I'm going to say percentage 2. Let's say if this calculation even shows some insight, so I'm going to say sum of comments, but this time I'm going to divide by sum of views, right? It's a very minuscule, very small number that we are going to get. As you see, 0.01, 0.00, right? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. So for instance, maybe I can just remove it, right? I was just testing it, but it's not really making much sense. Very, very small numbers. So I'm just going to keep the other two. Okay, I'm going to remove comments to views. Now with this, what else can we do? We could, for example, bring in post category, right? Can bring in post category. So we see values across the board, right? So, and I can drag this to see everything at one place. And now we can also do and execute our heat map thing, right? To change the colors and stuff like that. So for example, I could come here and for the first metric, I want to see heat map, right? So we get a distribution, and then for the second metric also, let's say I want to see heat map, right? You can play around. So now what we notice, right? The dark blue ones, right? For example, YouTube tips is having a very solid likes to views ratio, right? It's not very high, but it's 0.05%. Same with Instagram tips as well, right? Looks like tips is doing fine, whereas LinkedIn tips is not working, right? It's 0.01%. Same way, YouTube information is having 0.05. YouTube fun content is also having 0.04, right? And if you notice here, generally in LinkedIn, right, the likes to view ratio is very low, right? Whether it's tips, projects, or information. So that is one thing we are observing. Then if you go to Instagram, if there is an information or projects content, that is also not doing that well. So in Instagram, what is primarily doing well is to give tips, right? So it looks like executing tips gives a good likes to views ratio, right? So out of people who view the video, good number of people click on the like button. And in YouTube, generally, tips, projects, and information all are working. Even fun videos are working, right? Even interviews doing quite well. 0.03% is not bad. So it looks like the likes to views ratio is pretty good in YouTube, right, as a starting point. Now looking at the other metric, which was basically the one we calculated, that is comments to likes. You see, whenever there's a project video, compared to likes, there's a lot of comments, right? And same with the interview, right? When I interviewed someone about their data analyst journey and so on, these two are working, and information video is also working fine in terms of comments to likes, 0.13. But you see, Instagram and all, this is non-existent, right? What is the reason? Like overall comments only is very low in Instagram, right? If I go back to our first page, we see it's only 490. Not only that, if you see here, right, you see the comments are very, very low in Instagram, right, compared to the views and the likes. That is the reason why you see this value is very, very low for Instagram. At least LinkedIn is fine, 0.05%, 0.04, but it's not still high, right? YouTube is still doing well, even in comments to likes, right? So that is an interesting trend to note. So if I come back to this page, you notice that YouTube has lower views and likes, lower comments as well, but the likes to views ratios and the comments to likes ratios are good, right? So although overall numbers are not that high, but still there is reasonably good engagement compared to the views happening in YouTube. And if we want to pick up specific things, it looks like information videos are doing well in terms of likes. And when I post a project video or an interview video, the comments I get compared to the likes is really solid, right? So this is some idea I can take to further develop my content in the future, right? Very, very simple insights. So that is there. Now, if I want to go and add a new page, I can again say page and insert another page. This time, let's say I want to add some simple charts. So for example, I could select column chart, right? Column chart, I could, for example, put post category, right? That's a simple example, and see, okay, what is the trend in terms of likes and also in terms of views. Okay, so we could do simple things like this, right? So I make it bigger. As you see, fun and interview is very small numbers, right? They're kind of non-existent. And one other thing, if you notice, is there's already two sets of graphs, right? Because views is in millions, right? That is the light blue color, and this dark blue is the likes one. So as you notice, information has like a lot of likes, and then tips, and these two also get the maximum number of views, right? Fun and interview, there were not many videos, I guess, so they're kind of non-existent. So I can move this down, right, as a simple graph, and I can again insert a drop down filter, right? It's pretty simple. Here I can bring in platform as the filter. So I can select by platform and see, for example, only LinkedIn, what are the values and so on. LinkedIn, there's only 3 types of content I put, and yeah, you can play around, right? So it's good to give interactive filters. Now I'm selecting all the platforms. You can select by platform and see any sort of insight. Simple bar graph with multiple metrics that can indicate some kind of trend, right? So this is how you can create a bar graph. On top of this, you can also add some insights, right? Like, okay, if you notice information and tips is working, you can add this as a bullet point as well, right? So this way you can play around a little bit with your filters as well, right? So let's say I have this one graph. Can I do a second graph? Yes, we can, right? So there are many other options. As you see, you could, like, I mean, we already saw what's a heat map. I also showed you what is a scorecard. So you could also create a pie chart, for example, right? Simple pie chart would be to understand in terms of platforms, right, which has the highest share in terms of views, right? So I can say insert pie chart, right? I can place the second chart here. Very, very simple. And in this pie chart, what I'm going to do, I want to see by platform the trend for the overall views. Okay, so I'm pulling views in here, and here I want platform, right? I don't want the post category. Let me just drag platform here. Now you see, right? So Instagram has the lion's share in terms of the total views, almost 60%. Then LinkedIn, YouTube is a minuscule, just 1.5% in terms of views, right? That's hardly 20K views, right? This is a simple trend, right? So on top of this, you can also insert a simple heading if you want, right? So you can say insert, can come here, you can add a text if you want, right? Simple text box, right? And you can move this around and say, for example, view share by platform, right? Of course, you can do the formatting and all, right? I'm just building out the graphs and the calculations, right? You can of course format it the way you want. You can select the text, make it bigger as I've shown you in the beginning as well, right? So this is all there, right? You can give like a color as well. You can come here, select a random color, right? Let's say I select this one, so you can shade it and so on, right? You can give headings for each of these, right? You can play around with all this, right? So this is also possible, so keep this in mind, right? On top of that, what else can we do? So if I go here, like we have already done this color coding for most of it. Let's see what other features are possible, right? So if I come back here into this, I have views likes already, right? If I come back into this graph, let us say I want to add another metric. Let's say I just want to see the overall views also as a third metric. I will just drag that in, right? So this way I can see the sum of views as an extra column here, right? For this column, we can also do a few things, right? So if you go to style, right, there's a way to add conditional formatting similar to Excel, right? You can play around with this. So I can say, for example, add, right? Let's say I want to add a color, and what is the condition? Let's say if views is greater than, let's say 5,000, I want to give it a specific color, right? For the entire row, I'm going to come and select the color. Let's say I'm going to select the color yellow and save, right? I did a simple conditional formatting. So wherever, as you see, it's views is more than 5,000, it will shade the whole thing in yellow, right? So this is also something you can play around and do, right? If you want, you can do it. You can go back and also go to the rule and like simply delete it, right? So this is just to play around, but this is also possible. Apart from that, as you notice, if I come to another chart, like for example here, I can also go to the setup, right? There's also a way to do sorting, right? You can sort by descending and ascending. You can play around. You can also add a filter to the table, right? I'm just going to click, and what can you do? For example, you can say include or exclude, right? And over here you can like select what kind of filter you want to impose, right? Is it for the platform title? So title, for example, only for certain type of title, right? If I come back into the data, only for resume or something like that, you can also put and play around, right? That is another possible option. So yeah, that is that. Now let's go back to the questions. So we have done calculations for total views, comments. We did some calculation. They are asking to observe trend wise for months and drive key insights, right? So we found a few things already. So one thing that we have still not done, maybe I will add this as an extra page, right? Is to see by month, is there any kind of trend, right? So for this, let me again go and insert a simple table, right? And I'm just going to do it by month, right? I think I have the column month already ready. So I can just select this and yeah, go to properties, right? And then I can drag the month. Okay. And month, I want to see the total views, total likes, and total comments, right? I'm just going to drag these three to see if there is a trend, right? There's like multiple months. So again, we can simply go and do heat map or bar chart, right? That's up to us. This time, just to do something different, I can go here and select bar chart and also show the value. I'm going to do the same with the other metrics as well, right? I want to do a bar chart and show the value. Comments, I'm just going to leave them as such. So now if you notice, again, November seemed to be the strongest month, right? And then of course October was also strong, right? You see the build up, right? August was only 16k views overall across platforms, September 80k, then 2,75,000 or 275,572, and then so on, right? November peaked, right? So we see a steady increase in trend in terms of views over months. So on top of this, I can also add a filter if I want for in terms of platform, right? So again, I'm not going to insert text. I'm just going to insert a drop down list. So I can come here, right? And here I can give platform as a filter, right? As simple as that. So month I don't want as a filter. So let me just cut this and just platform, right? So I can select each platform. Let's see if there were specific trends in LinkedIn. LinkedIn, there's only data for 3 months. In LinkedIn, October seems to be the strongest month, right? In YouTube, let's see. YouTube actually, August seems to be the strongest month, right? But in Instagram, as you see, from August, September, October, November, December, November, in that November seems to be the strongest, right? So there's a steady uptrend up till November. But when we select overall all the months together, then we see that there's a steady increase, right? There's August, September, October, November. December actually dropped a little bit, right? So I think that is something to keep in mind. But there's been a steady increase, right? With the drop in December, August, September, October, November showed an overall uptrend, right? So you can drive insights like this and then find which platform contributed to that increase, right? So this is how you can create a report. And basically, if you see here, you can also go and download it as a PDF if you want. You can also share it with people, right? You can share, click the share option, and then you can create, for example, a link, right? Instead of restricted, you can say public. So I'm going to share the link of the dashboard, right? and then I can copy the link, and anyone can view it right on the internet, right? So we can do all these kind of things as well, right? Play around. So now if I go into view mode, all the pages don't have a title yet, but as you see, we have shown a few things, right? Each page has their own unique story. So make sure each page doesn't have one table or maximum one or two charts, right? Keep that in mind. Now, one last thing to do, how can we actually give the pages some kind of names, right? This will be very relevant. So for example, I can go to manage pages, right? So if I go to first page, this is overall information. So I can give it a rename, overall info, right? I have not put a lot in this page, just overall numbers, right? Second page, this is I think platform wise metrics. So I can click here and rename it platform wise metrics. Okay, so I can give it a name like this. So names are getting saved. Next page, this is I think post category wise overall metrics again, right? So rename post category wise metrics, right? You can give some legible name, right? That should be enough. Then here it's I think these specific KPIs that we are calculating by platform. So like let's say specific KPIs per platform and category, right? I can give a name like this. This is overall likes and view share, right? So I can rename this as likes and view share, and I'm considering by platform and category. So I'll say platform and category, right? Simple names. And then the last one I think was by month, right? Month-wise performance, right? So we can easily give names like this, right? I am saving. Now if I go into view mode, I also can jump across pages, right? I can go to this page, change and play around with the filter and so on. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video, right? We didn't do a lot, but we learned basics of Looker Studio, how to use it, how to blend the data, bring data from Google Sheet, from BigQuery, how to create calculations, right? For example, in these sheets, as you see, I've done some calculated field, right? Like comments to likes, I showed you how to do that, how to do heat map, coloring, say a story. Keep this in mind. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you again in another video. Till then, take care. Bye.